A 10-year-old boy known to his family as Andy was last seen in a memorial pool in Lawrence, Massachusetts on August 21st, 1976. Andy was only 100 yards away from home, a community housing complex with hundreds of other children. Andy knew well. Andy was said to be likable, kind, and intelligent. His close friends, 9 years old, Melina Parkins, was at the swimming pool as well with Andy on the evening of his disappearance near 6 p.m. Had asked Andy to walk to her house, but Andy wished to swim a little bit longer. Melina's older brother eventually caught up with her and accommodated her back home. Andy began leaving for home at about 5:45. This would be the last time Andy would ever be seen. In August 1975, a year earlier, 2 young boys who had been at the same very pool as Andy was last seen, aged 10 and 11, were approached by a man named Wayne W. Chapman, pleading the boys for help to help him find his lost poodle in the nearby woods. The 2 boys followed and were sodomized by offenders. The 2 boys later reported that they had heard a clicking noise close by, most likely from that of a camera, thought they couldn't see other individuals. Months after Andy's disappearance, Wayne W. Chapman was arrested for a firearm violation in New York. During a routine traffic stop, upon search his vehicle for reasonable suspicion due to having a Polaroid photo of naked boys lying on his dashboard, police uncovered a cache of child pornography, rape tapes, handcuffs, camera equipment, and fake police badges, and a starter pistol. Shortly before Andy's disappearance, Andy returned home with a few Polaroid photos that had been taken of him and given to him by an unidentified man. His mother took the Polaroid photos and told Andy that she would never let anyone he doesn't know take his photo. Chapman was detained and interrogated by police for several states, continuing for multiple charges including sexual battery upon a minor and murder. Chapman, David Lewison, missing from Brockton, MA since 1974. Based upon a confession from Chapman, police searched the Brockton area for David's remainings, though unfortunately nothing had been recovered. Chapman was unfortunately found guilty for the rape of 2 Lawrence boys. The court sentenced Chapman to 2 consecutive 15 to 30 year sentences. Chapman, however, was not convicted for murder charges of David Lewison, cutting no bills, or a lack of evidence. In June of 1980, another person of interest in Andy's disappearance, Charles Pierce, had pleaded guilty to the second-degree murder charge of a 13-year-old Michelle Wilson. Pierce told investigators he was responsible for 15 to 20 murders since 1954 and 1988. Lawrence police captain received a letter from a state trooper involving with Pierce. The letter stated that Pierce has confessed to the murder of Lawrence boy, prompting LE to investigate. Lawrence police never questioned Pierce. Of all the information above was essentially discovered by Andy's childhood friend Melina Parkins, one of the last few to see Andy on that day of his disappearance. Melina had been directing a film, her documentary, Have You Seen Andy, for 7 years, throughout the late 90s and early 2000s. The film was released in 2007 on HBO and continued to air for 5 years. Upon searching police files in Lawrence, Melina was one who had uncovered the letter regarding Pierce's confession in February 1999. After conducting Pierce to schedule an interview by the end of the month, Pierce passed away of prostate cancer. Only days later, Milena learned that Pierce was not in prison when Andy disappeared, and that he told police he was unaffiliated with Chapman and had seen him from time to time in Lawrence. After requesting an interview with Chapman, Milena meets with him at prison in Shirley, MA. Chapman denied any involvement in Andy's disappearance and claimed to have never been to Lawrence, despite he was convicted of rape of 2 Lawrence boys that had been lured away in 1975. After having uncovered one of Chapman's personal videotapes, he is seen stalking a school bus, filming the children inside. He is heard making sexually obscene comments and states that he would like to snatch one of the children. One man claims that he was 4 years old when Andy was abducted by Chapman. Together at the pool that day, Chapman had allegedly asked multiple children to help him find his lost puppy. When Andy and the boy agreed, they were then lured into the woods until Andy saw another man hiding by bushes and became frightened, screaming. The little boy that has to run away, running behind him. Andy pushed a little boy further so he can cross a longer distance, though. When the boy stopped to turn around, Andy had already been grabbed by 2 men and had been held down on a large rock. The little boy told his mother what had happened, but she didn't believe him. He is featured in the documentary and tells of his experience and his suffering while editing the audio tapes that Chapman recorded regarding his fantasies about what he would like to do with young boys. He recalls a time where he took a boy away from the pool along with a much younger boy. Today, after having completed his prison sentence in 2004, Chapman remains still sexually dangerous in a treatment center where he will not be released back into the community unless a judge deems him unlikely to pose a threat to society. Montana police arrested Nathan in the disappearance of a 10-year-old Zachary, is a Massachusetts resident and known sexual predator, previously held at the Massachusetts Treatment Center for Rape and Severe Children in the Webster, MA area. Fragments from a child's bones were found in a garage along with the list of several boys from a camping, Webster, MA, and a receipt for a little boy stew.